Okay, if I can create new faces, I should be able to actually fully form a body again. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go.
Well, hello there. You trying to squeeze out a turd or something?
I was about to form a new body maybe, but you interrupted.
But what if it's a trap?
What? How?
I have a sixth sense.
You see dead people?
I see traps.
Oh, of course.
Traps like a mousetrap, the doctor's office, the mousetrap board game, corporate America, and gas station sushi.
Okay, I think that's just called using eyes.
I sense something.
Huh? What?
No, not the goldfish being mugged. Something dark and decrepit. It's a...
I think it's just some trailer footage, dude.
No, it's a trap! It's a trap!
Trap is brought to us by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Josh Hartnett as our protagonist we follow along. This movie has a pretty wild premise. The movie takes place at a Taylor Swift-esque concert as a father and daughter go to see the concert, jam out. When all of a sudden, police officers are surrounding the building. They don't know what's going on, so the dad leaves and asks a worker what's going on. Why is the police here today? The worker reveals that the FBI plan on catching this butcher guy, this serial killer that's been chopping people up, apparently. And, well, turns out Josh Hartnett is the butcher. So that's the big premise. It's a reverse M. Night Shyamalan movie where the twist isn't at the end, it's at the beginning, and it's the premise to the whole movie. So, there you go. We got ourselves a new M. Night Shyamalan thriller. M. Night Shyamalan is just, he's one of those directors. He has a lot of promise, he's done a lot of great things, but he's just fallen off the wayside with... He went from making movies that were certified bangers, that were going to be... Basically, any movie he came out with was going to be lit, to he went through a rough patch of every movie he made was a stinker, from like The Lady in the Water to The Happening to some other movies in there. I was lucky though to not see all those stinker movies. So I think the closest stinker M. Night Shyamalan movie I've seen is Elements of Old, but I still like parts of that movie. Hi, Editor Me here. I'm here to tell you that I have in fact seen After Earth, which was a Will Smith vanity project. Pretty bad. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. So he's a very skilled director, and he's proven himself multiple times. It's just, he gets stuck in his head, I guess, and gets a little caught up in writing up the art and, I guess, coming up with a twist for every movie, because basically he became the twist guy. Like, his whole brand was twists, which, as you could figure out, is not a sustainable thing to have as your main selling point. So it's actually a pretty great thing that he gave away the quote-unquote the twist in the trailer, and it's just the premise of the movie. There's no twist, or, there's some surprises and stuff, but it's not really, well, you just have to see the movie, I think technically he did it with the last movie he released, which was one of his first radar movies in a long time, called The Knock at the Cabin. So I think he's finally trying to shed off that persona and expectation. And let me tell you, this movie is a mixed bag. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying it is, because I actually had a pretty good time with it. I was along for the ride. I thought it was really good suspense and stuff, which I'll get into in a second. But yeah, let's just get into it. Josh Hartnett, this is going to be the standout guy, okay? His performance gets really good as the movie goes on. I have to say, at first, there was a certain point where his character, I thought this was going to be the movie following to the M. Night Shyamalan new reoccurrence of very stilted dialogue that sounds like they're not even human talking to each other, which that definitely showed up in Old, which it was a little weird. It was a little jarring. But at least it somewhat makes sense in the movie here, where he's like, trying to put on a civilian face for all the people around him and his daughter. But it comes off so corny at first, and I was like, is this going to be the whole movie? Oh my gosh, this is so bad. But it's funny. But then as the movie progresses and we see more of this side of him, the serial killer, not more like the side of him. Like, he took off the mask. He is this guy all the time. He definitely becomes more comfortable and is very convincing. Stay away from that guy. But yeah, by the end, I loved his performance. It was pretty good. Pretty great, actually. The Cinematography was also really good. I love the way M. Night Shyamalan does his wides, and they kept doing this technique where the face was half on screen. It was kind of off-putting, and I really liked that. It felt very like you're in the head or you're really close to that character. Oh yeah, they also just had some of the characters staring at the camera, so staring at us and talking is really uncomfortable. I don't know if he was going for that on purpose, but if he was, it worked. I liked that I didn't know exactly what was going on, like what direction they were headed in all the time. I was in for the ride at that point. It stopped being cringe. It was more like suspenseful, which again, the suspense in this movie, I don't know how M. Night does it, but it got pretty suspenseful. I was like, what's going to happen? I felt like the tension of like, you sort of end up being like, or at least for me, I was like, oh my goodness, this character's in the same room as this killer and doesn't know it. You know, is he going to strike? Is something going to happen? And that sort of tension permeates throughout the movie. It was kind of funny though, because in the theater I saw it in, there's some lady behind us and she kept going, oh no, on like every little thing. It was so funny, but I think it added to my experience and made it even more suspenseful in a way. Kid Cudi had a funny cameo. The independent rapper Russ was in the movie, which I was like, there's actual people in this movie? What the heck? Like singing with the main singer character played by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. One last thing I have to say I want to touch on in the definitely good section is this felt like a Hitman movie. Like not like just some random Hitman or the Hitman's Bodyguard or whatever. No, it felt like the video game Hitman movie. Like, there's a lot of him causing distractions, stealing like items, and just trying to outsmart the environment and the officers trying to hunt him down. I found that part very fun, and it really did feel like a Hitman movie for some of this film, and I loved it. Some mixed aspects of this movie. I kind of hinted at earlier, it was kind of cool not knowing when to root for the killer or, you know, anybody around him. But it's also could be like not a great thing for other people watching the movie because you're like, what do I do? Am I wanting the killer to escape, or am I wanting him to survive? Like, what am I doing? Wait, do I want these people not to get hurt? So that could mess with people's experience of the movie. Another thing is the movie kind of switches it up on the direction it's going about halfway or like 2/3 of the way through. And so I think some have not enjoyed that aspect of the movie, but I was in for it at that point, more of like from a character perspective to see what happens to these characters. And I thought the tension kept going on, but I can see people not liking that part. Again, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter plays Lady Raven, the Taylor Swift figure, and she's not the best actor, but I don't think she's a terrible actor. It's just when you put her up against Josh Hartnett, it's definitely not going to look good, but she could definitely work on her acting skills. She's a great singer. Some people might see this as a nepotism project, so that M. Night Shyamalan's like, hey, here's my daughter's demos if you want to hear. I don't know why you sound like that. What the heck? There are some long shots of her on stage, so those felt a little long. It wasn't the best where I kept focusing on her, but she's a good singer. She's a great singer. Not the best actor. All right, now the straight up bad. Okay, so there's bad acting in this movie. As I said, Josh Hutcherson, Josh Hartnett ends up doing a great job. And then M. Night Shyamalan's daughter is okay. But everybody else is very cheesy, and it's probably a huge part to M. Night's directing, I assume, but then also just the unnatural dialogue that comes out of these people's mouths. You know, it just feels very awkward and weird, and so it comes off pretty bad. Another thing that a lot more people are probably going to dog on this movie for, especially the people that are more wired logically on like movie logic being like real life. There's a lot of conveniences that happen for our protagonists. So that's something I realized after the movie or was thinking about after the movie. And I'm sure a lot of people that are more wired that way are really upset with the conveniences and just how all that type of stuff played out. 'Cause it does get pretty contrived. There's also some plot holes you start to realize after the movie that also make it feel like the plot wasn't completely thought through and come off a little sloppy story-wise. One last good thing is that I liked seeing the redhead drummer from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World plays the butcher's wife, so that's pretty cool. Good to see her again, Allison Pill. But other than all the conveniences in the script and the bad dialogue, bad acting, overall, like everything else, like I enjoyed Josh Hartnett's performance. I got into the movie. Like I thought it was pretty suspenseful. Like I actually felt tension throughout the movie, which was M. Night's just good at that. I don't. Again, he's a magician when it comes to that. So I still really enjoyed this movie, but I can't give it above a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, that sits right with me. So what'd you think of Trap? I can't wait to see. I always want to see what this guy does. M. Night's just one of those people. He's a wild card now. Again, he went from good to bad to mixed to pretty good to, he's been all over the place. But seems to be coming back, and this could have been a continuation of the right direction. There's just some things that really held it down for me, and it seems a lot of other people, because people do not like this movie. But I don't think it's that bad or even bad, to be honest. I guess it closes to mediocre, but not even that. I think it was solid. It was all right. It's good. It's okay. Like and subscribe if you want to see more movie reviews, skits in the future, all sorts of stuff. This has been just another Swiftie stuck in a concert full of serial killers. Saying, if you see Josh Hutcher... Oh no, I said his name 3 times.